Hey team, welcome to another Collier's Acceleration webinar, and we want to talk with you today for about 5 minutes about the concept of making effective requests. Really amazing little piece of knowledge here in terms of actually how to work with your team. So you're with a team, you're with people, and you need to understand how to make effective requests, and you'd be really surprised how poor people are at this. It's a very simple, basic concept, but I like to do is show you a little bit of a model and give you an idea on how it works. So we're going to do that right now. So in front of you is a model that I'm going to start building on. It's going to teach you how to make an effective request. And the very first thing you do in your model is you have to have an effective speaker. I think one of the things you're going to find out that's really ineffective on a team is you'll have a bunch of people in a room and they'll be talking and they'll be saying stuff like, hey, you know, we should go canvas that market. And somebody says, well, we should do an event. And then somebody else says, yeah, I think we should really be calling this particular client. And they're all talking to each other, but there's no one that's actually taken reins and said, okay, out of all that, here's what we're going to do. There's no one that has become the speaker. It's just a general discussion with each other. And so somebody has to take the reins and say, look, here's what we're going to do. And what they have to do is then look at it and say, okay, well, we're going to do an X by a time Y. We're going to do a specific thing by a specific time. X cannot be general. It can't be, hey, let's do some event. Some event is not general. It needs to be, we're going to do a broker open house, or we're going to do a tour, or we're going to do the presentation. It needs to be really specific. And then by time Y, it needs to be a specific time. It can't be, yeah, let's just do it sometime coming up. It needs to be like, let's get it done by next Thursday, or let's get it done by the end of the month, or let's do 3 of these during the next quarter. So X by time Y, super critical. You'll be so surprised how often you'll be in a team and no one will give you an X or no one will give you a Y, and it's all vague and the team doesn't know what to do. Now here's the key though, there's one more element. And that element is that you have to have a listener. You have to have one specific person that says, I'm receiving this request. It can't just be like a request to out into the group, you know, the royal we. Hey, we should do this. The royal we means not me, it means all you guys. All right, so look at the concept of making a request with a specific person. And then their job, they get to do one of 4 things. They get to accept, they get to decline, they get to counteroffer, or they get to commit later. Now, this is a really important concept because the first 2 are really easy, accept and decline. But a lot of times you get people and they'll say, I want a counteroffer. Like, I'm not sure. Like, what, you know, let me think about this. And so your job when they counteroffer is to sit down and negotiate with them and say, look, well, okay, if you can't do it by this week or you can't do it by tomorrow, then when can you do it by? Your job as the speaker is to get the listener to commit. Okay, to counteroffer, you need to figure out what's necessary for them to get it done, to get the job done. The other thing that they might do is they might come back to you and they commit later. Say, I don't know, I can't really commit to this right now. And then you say, well, by when? It's a very simple concept. By when? When can I come back to you and talk with you about this? And they say, okay, well, so by when is the next super effective thing? So to get them nailed down on, you've got to sit down and get them into a time date. So next week, tomorrow, whenever. Let's talk about it and make the decision then. So this is a very simple model, but you'd be really surprised how many teams don't use this model. They have general questions. They don't let people accept or decline. They don't come up with a time why. There's no specific listeners, no speaker. And then people wonder why their teams are not effective and doing well. So with that, I want to make sure all of you recognize that your job is to be effective in team and get things accomplished. So go out in the market, try that this week, try and use these effective requests. If anything's vague, say, is there an X by time Y? Am I hearing an X by time Y? And who's actually doing this? Who's actually asking and who's committing? So do we have accept, counter, commit to commit later? What do we've got going here? So try it out this week, and I think you'll find that it'll accelerate your team dynamics and it'll be really effective for you. Go out and make it work. Thanks, folks.